Hello, everyone, and welcome to another devlog for Skynamic Studios. I'm Zachary Rich.
And I'm Allison Shribnick.
And welcome, welcome,
And
welcome. Ha!
yay! Welcome to our third devlog. And we're
Number
really excited
three.
to talk to you. Yeah, talk to you today about basically how we came to be with Skynamic Studios and how we run our studio. Because it's been a question that you guys have kind of been asking us about how do we do what we do and how do we get people to come work for us and all that jazz. So I'm going to let Zach open the floor on this one because it honestly starts with him.
It does.
So
Yeah, yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead, honey.
So I'd say the birthplace of this collaborative endeavor this collaborative experiment that is Skynamic Studios all began in 2011 when the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic series started coming out on television. And at the time, I did not care about it at all. But both Allison and I were at the Savannah College of Art and Design at the time. And we were taking a class together taught by the great Professor Michael Jancy, who was showing us how to use Adobe Flash CS like 5.0, I think is what it was at the time. And Allison took me aside and she was just like, "Hey, Zach, you should watch this show about ponies. It's all animated in Flash." And I was like, "Yeah, over my dead body." But no, she forced me to sit down and watch it, and like almost within like the first 30 seconds, I fell in love with it. Not because it was ponies, not because it was colorful or whatever the hell all those bronies out there think. I liked it because of the animation. I liked the fact that there was this entire show being animated using a program, Adobe Flash, the same program that we were learning at that exact same point in time at SCAD. And it kind of opened my eyes. It made me realize that the only thing stopping me from going out there and creating something exactly like this is just doing it. Like, there is nothing stopping me. I have the exact same tools and resources. So that's kind of how the whole Double Rainbow thing started, and I have way more videos on my Flamingo Rich YouTube channel that talk about that if you want to learn more about that. But that was the whole Double Rainbow thing, which sort of like had about 105 crew members on that over the course of about 56 weeks. But after we finished Double Rainbow, which was March 30th of 2013, well, here was all this amazing artistic talent all in one place. And we didn't know what to do. Like, we didn't want to do another pony thing. We just kind of decided, you know what? Like, let's just create our own thing. And that turned into True Tale Prime. Yeah. And then this is where Allison comes in.
Yeah, so basically I joined up in 2013 in March, April, something like that.
Right around April. I think
So
we just started working on the new idea, and then you came in.
yeah, like I think Melody's name was supposed to be something completely different. Like it wasn't even going to be Melody. It was going to be like something that started with like a Z or
No,
something.
it was. I think it was Ambrosia or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, or like Zara or something.
Oh, yeah, that too, yeah. Yeah. That's right, and we were going to make her like have zebra-colored patterns on her or something, and she was going to come
like
from
she's going to be like an
and...
African bunny. Yeah. Oh God, oh my goodness. So many so many things. So we had writers, we had artists, and all this kind of stuff. And Zach was like, "Well, where do you want to fit?" And I went, "Hey, I'll do character design." And so I worked on designing Caleb, that he was kind of like my baby, alongside our other character designers, and worked on props and layouts and all this kind of stuff. And then quickly decided that, oh yeah, drawing's fun. I'd rather be right by Zach and work in production because production runs the show. And
that's right.
So,
and at the time, I believe that I was partners with Matthew Margerson and Rachel McWhorter, who are both extremely talented, but have since kind of gone their separate ways. And then Allison kind of took their spots.
Yeah, so it really sort of became a thing of when I was at SCAD, I had done like a ton of production stuff, and I actually had given like all of my production sheets to Zach. And that was kind of how we actually formed a lot of the production sheets on Double Rainbow and as well on Skynamic Studios. So that's kind of the basis. And because Zach did Double Rainbow, he had a kind of following. So it was very easy for us to like do a reach out and go, hey, we want more artists, we want more animators, we need more of this. And people would come and they would take tests and they would join the studio and we'd work with them and train them, and they'd either stay with us for 5 years or they would go on their merry way after they finished their shot.
Yeah, like again, like over the course of the past 5 years, we said this in the first devlog as well, we've had like around 350 people like enter Skynamic and work for us and then leave to go on to bigger and better things, and some of them are still around, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah. So what we're going to talk about next is basically the framework of Skynamic Studios and how you can run a online studio. And one of the big things is if you look at from like our first slide, you'll see that we were really learning. Like all the design work, everything, so simplistic, so basic. Now look at us.
Yeah, when we started back in 2013, we had no idea what the hell we were doing. All we knew is that we just created this really like crazy popular thing about ponies, and we're like, we want to make our own idea. And it's so like we had so many mistakes along the way. We had no freaking idea what we were doing, and a lot of the stuff we did has been thrown out, or we learned great life lessons from the mistakes, and we've had people come and go, and designs have changed and been tweaked, and we learned better ways to run the studio and better ways to communicate with each other, and it turned into what we have now, which is a nice, I'd say, smoother, more efficient process.
Oh, by far. Yeah. I mean, what was like? How was it that you were doing Double Rainbow? Wasn't it like people were emailing their stuff to you?
They emailed their stuff into my Gmail account, and then I used live stream, which means they couldn't chat back with me. They had to use the chat on the live stream server itself, and I would just open up my emails one by one, and that's how Double Rainbow was created.
Oh my god!
It was a nightmare.
That just sounds horrible. I'm very glad I was not
there. We are
a
lot more efficient now at running an online studio, that's for sure.
So one of the big things that like everyone always asks is, how do you run an online studio? How do you get it up and running and get it done? And honestly, there are 4 components. Technically, there's 3, where they come down to 1, communication. Communication is key in running any kind of studio, especially a cloud-based studio, because everybody is on different time zones. I mean, for example, I'm 3 hours behind Zach right now.
Yeah. To go even more extreme than that, our sound designer is 12 hours ahead of us in Australia. So
exactly.
Yeah, it gets a little crazy with time zones, and you have to have it's basically having a network hub, one area where everyone can go and they can always get into contact with everyone else.
Yeah. In the very beginning, we used Skype. Skype was kind of the way that we would do all of our communication. But honestly, Skype is a very dead program. You shouldn't use it anymore. If you are. No. Sorry, Skype.
It was great for starting us out, but Discord is the way to go.
Yes. Discord's definitely the way to go. So we've been using Discord for a little over a year now. And it's fantastic in the sense of, you know, you can set all these areas where it's like you've got a check-in where the artist can like show their artwork to us on a daily basis, and then we can immediately comment and be like, no, go in this direction, or no, we love this is fantastic, you're done with this assignment, we need to get you another one. We also have like announcements where, say for example, Zach is sick or I'm sick, and it's like, hey, meeting's canceled on Saturday, we're gonna do it Sunday, and all that kind of thing. And what's really nice is we also have areas like shenanigans and stuff like that where the crew can interact and talk to one another and really be a crew, because it's really hard to maintain a kind of family or like dynamic where people feel like they are part of the show when they're not in the room with you. So by creating, by working with Discord, it's really helped us grow a communication network with our studio. So communication is key, guys. If you want to run an online studio, you've got to be able to communicate with your people. Even if you only have 2 or 3, you've got to be able to communicate. Because if miscommunication, oh man, it's hours, if not days, of going in the wrong direction, and it's really sad and frustrating when somebody gets the wrong direction and they turn in an assignment and you go, this is totally not where I wanted it to go. you never want to say that to an artist. That's kind of a painful thing to say. So, but yeah, so that kind of gives you a bit of a basis of how we do our communication. Another program that we use is Google Hangouts. Google Hangouts are really important because we can do a lot of screen sharing. We do work hangouts almost every night. I can't always attend them because I'm 3 hours behind and I'm actually at work when Zach comes home and makes them. But it creates a great environment for our team to come in, to work, to get critique, all that kind of stuff. And so communication is really big with doing an online studio, and that's kind of how we create our framework for communicating with our crew.
It's also the first thing you want to establish. Like, don't try to collaborate online with anybody until you have that communication set in stone.
Yes. I also highly recommend that if you are going to do an online studio and you have more than, well, honestly, it doesn't really matter. If you have more than 2 people, you need to be using a Skype or a Discord. Don't use email as your form of communication. That is just not a smart way of going about it. We are in a day where you can instantly communicate with people. There are so many devices and ways that you can get instant notification. Don't do email. It's like snail mail now. Don't do that.
You also want to make sure that you place yourselves in a situation where you can talk to each other, where you can hear each other's voices, because so much is lost over the written word. Inflection is lost. And a lot of people can take offense at something that wasn't really meant to be offensive. They just read it the wrong way.
Yeah, it's really important that it's one of the reasons on why using Google Hangouts and Discords and things like that, where you can actually talk to people, is important, like Zach said. But if you are going to you feel more comfortable writing than actual speaking, that's perfectly fine. But I warn you in advance, be very careful with the way that you talk to your crew members. You can easily offend. You have no idea what somebody's life has been like. And you could say something that you think is not offensive in the least, and it could spiral into a huge argument or a huge fight. And it's all about having decorum and being able to present yourself in a professional way. It's a great learning experience if you actually want to get into the industry, because most communication, especially with like out-of-house studios, is done through email. So it's just something to think about.
Really just compose yourself through the internet the way that you compose yourself in real life when you're talking to somebody in front of you. That's a good rule of thumb. Yeah, exactly. Now, the second step, so if you've already got communication and everyone's communicating and it's great, now it's all about narrowing down the software you're going to use for the particular project you're running. So we're an animation studio. We specialize in puppet animation. So a lot of our stuff kind of starts off in Photoshop with like drawing storyboards or drawing character illustrations or drawing designing and conceptual artwork. And then that sort of translates into animation with us vectoring over it and puppeting it out using Adobe Animate. Now, Adobe Animate is also known as Adobe Flash. It's just the new version of Flash is called Adobe Animate. Same program. Then we
That's the red icon, in case you guys don't know.
Exactly. So it is the right icon.
Blue one is Photoshop, red is Adobe Animate, purple is After Effects, and the one all the way over on the end is
Adobe Media Encoder.
Yeah.
This is our pipeline. It starts off in Photoshop, and then it gets carried into Adobe Animate, where we puppet out all the character illustrations and turnarounds, and we actually animate everything. We do all our effects animation there. Then all that gets composited into Adobe After Effects, where we do like color tweaking and lighting and other effects that After Effects is very, very good at doing, and compositing everything together into a polished look. Then we render everything via Adobe Media Encoder. And honestly, if I had room for a fifth icon, I'd put Adobe Premiere here, because that's a great thing for compositing final shots in there as well. So really, like, we are the poster child for using the Adobe Creative Cloud. It's a great collection of programs. They're very easily accessible. Anybody in the world can very, very easily download them and install them on their computers. And they're cheap. You can get access to, like, 55 plus pieces of software for as little as like $39.99 a month, which I think I spend more on McDonald's every week than that. So,
goodness gracious.
yeah.
But it's extremely important that the software that you use is easy to access for a cloud-based studio, just because you're not in a brick and mortar environment. You need to make sure that all the software is affordable so that your team can use it and has it. Most artists have all of these programs because they're how you make your portfolios. So, yeah.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
should be good if where you're going.
So lock down the software, make sure it's easily accessible, make sure that everyone on the crew has it. Whenever we bring in a new crew member to Skynamic Studios, which we're actually going to talk about a little bit later on this devlog, we always make sure that all the tests that we hand out have to be opened up using Adobe Flash, Adobe Animate.
Yep.
Because we just have to know that they have it. Like, our entire studio revolves around that one program. If we had to, we could find a different program than Photoshop. If we had to, we could find a different program than After Effects or Adobe Media Encoder. But Adobe Animate, that's the big thing that we use. So we just make sure that we save everything in that format, just to force everybody to use it.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think we could find another program for Photoshop. If you don't have Photoshop and you're an artist,
you've got like a Paint Tool Sai. Paint Tool Sai is pretty good too.
Photoshop is. I mean, Paint Tool Sai is great, but Photoshop is.
It is pretty awesome. I do love me some Photoshop. I mean, I teach it for a living, so there you go.
Yeah.
All right. So after software, you've got organization.
Yes, and so this is extremely, extremely important. So one of the things that you have to keep in mind is not everybody is an artist, not everybody is a director, but you better, darn it, have a producer, somebody who can organize your file structure, because your artists don't really want to deal with that. And frankly, your director doesn't either. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have very clear, comprehensive Excel sheets. And we do all of our Excel sheets in Google Docs. And it's fantastic. It's really saved us, and we love color. We love color.
We do. So here's just an example of our production Excel sheets.
So as you can see, it's got days of the week. It has the assignment. It shows if where the status is of the assignment. Is it ready? Is it not ready? Has it been assigned? If it's in blue, it's been assigned. If it's green, it means it's already been approved and it's good to go on to the next stage. As you can see, there are stages of development. You've got sketch, illustration, color board, flat color, render, lighting, all of that kind of stuff. For animation, you've got animation. You've got your keys, you have your in-betweens, you've got your compositing, you have vector, you have all these different stages, and each stage has to be handled and given to somebody. And as you can see, we have all these different sheets. So we've got our GIF sheets that shows the process of where we are with our GIFs. We have our Kickstarter. This is for our Kickstarter animation video that we're working on currently. We have our social media stuff. This is posters, stickers, pens, merchandise, all that kind of stuff, as well as wallpapers and that kind of thing. And our style guide is one that, oh God, one day we'll go back to it, where we are trying to create a guide that really shows our artists how to draw our characters.
Exactly. So like it's not only organizing your files, it's also organizing your pipeline, organizing what leads into what leads into what leads into what, and who is working on that right now. And that's how you can sort of fine-tune your process and make sure that things are being done in a timely manner.
And then the other thing comes down to getting the work from your artist, as well as handing the work out to your artist. And that's where Dropbox comes in. So Dropbox really helps us maintain our workflow, because we have all these different things going on. We've got comics, we have fan art, we've got marketing for our gifts, we have our Kickstarter, we've got music, all sorts of things. So like, honestly, those two programs, we could not run this studio without them. It would be impossible. We'd have to get all of our assignments through emails. And oh God, just the thought of that gives me a migraine.
Yeah. So we keep everything organized. It's not just using Dropbox. Now this is the executable of Dropbox. This is where you download the program and you run it through your computer. You can also pull up Dropbox on the internet as well, and that's how most people interact with Dropbox. I just have it installed on my computer because I run the server off of my computer.
Yep, same.
But yeah, we've got everything organized. We've got excellent file structure. We've got, oh my god, it's like almost a terabyte worth of data just in the TrueTale School of Heroes Dropbox alone. And we've got our TrueTale Prime here from the old days here as well. And it's keeping everything here. It's pretty crazy how we keep everything going.
And all of this is like so important to maintaining the studio, because without this, it's dead in the water. It's impossible to run. So we've gone through the first three, which in my honest opinion are really the most important. This one is necessary for you to actually be able to create the feeling of a studio for your team. You don't have to have this, but honestly, it's something that's really going to build a framework where your crew is gonna be in an entire room together feeling like, oh, this is so exciting. I get to show off my artwork to all the other artists, or my animation to all the other animators, and get feedback immediately from your directors.
Exactly.
So I'll let Zach talk about this one.
Yeah. So what we do is we have a crew meeting once a week. Lasts about 3 hours long. We run it via Discord. So we have a Discord text channel and a Discord voice channel where we are typing to each other and we are talking to each other. And then all of us jump into a join.me session, which allows me to share my screen with everybody else on the crew. So that way we're pulling up everybody's files via Dropbox. We're going through all their stuff one by one. We're giving them a really good solid critique. We're doing draw overs and making sure that the art style is consistent, while we're also talking to each other on Discord and typing out if somebody doesn't have a microphone. And it's just a good, solid, amazing, fun, passionate, enjoyable 3-hour-long process. And then what we do is to also make that process available to everyone, because keep in mind that when you run an online studio, people are spread out all over the world, and they all have different time zones. And we've got people who, when we run these meetings, well, they're asleep. They're on the other side of the planet. They can't attend the meetings. So what I do is I use Open Broadcaster software, which is also known as OBS Studio, which is a fantastic recording software. You can get it for free, and it's worth it. I record every single one of our crew meetings. We've been recording them since 2014. I've got hundreds and hundreds of them. And then what we'll do is we'll take that recording and we upload it to YouTube on my own private channel as an unlisted video. That way you fans can't see it. And but anybody who has the link can, and then we post the link in Discord. That way, if one of our crew members wasn't able to make the meeting, they can watch the recording and get a sense of where are we at as a studio. And if we looked at their artwork and we critiqued it, they can see their critique and they get a nice feel from it. Now, these are just weekly meetings. We also have several one-on-one meetings spread throughout the entire week, where Allison is getting into a meeting with somebody, or I'm getting into a meeting with somebody, or our lead animator, who's Philip Watson, he gets into a meeting with somebody, or our lead character designer, Nicole Green, she's getting into a meeting with somebody as well. And we have one-on-one meetings spread throughout the whole week as well, and those are usually handled via Google Hangouts and Discord.
Yeah, the best way of looking at this is if you guys have ever heard about dailies, where you'd be in an animation studio and they would pull up all the animation or pencil tests or whatever that an animator has done, and the directors and animation directors and whatnot would sit and they would watch the animation and they would give notes during the animation, being, oh, I like this, or no, I don't like that, or let's do this differently, or let's go in this direction. On Puppy Dog Pals, we have them every Wednesday and Friday, where we do asset reviews, where we review all the assets that have been turned in, CG models that have come back from overseas, and all that kind of thing. So in a sense, it's that exact same feeling. It gives, a community feel of an actual studio. And I'd say it's probably the closest thing to making us a real studio is having these meetings. Everything else is just us all having fun and enjoying the process of creating a project.
Well, that's a good point, because one thing that everybody who's watching this devlog should keep in mind is that, again, Skynamic Studios, we don't have money. We haven't sold TrueTale. We're doing everything purely out of passion for free. Mm-hmm. But I say the words for free is actually, even that's incorrect, because we're actually in the negative. This stuff costs money. The join.me channel costs money. Running a lot of the programs and software costs money, and like over the past
website,
5, yeah, our
blah,
website costs money, all of our other things cost money. So like basically, Allison and I have been pouring, I think over the past 5 years, like several $1,000s just to sort of keep everything kind of up and running.
Yep.
And it's worth it because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you shouldn't be doing online collaboration for making money. We don't do this because we want to make money. If Truetail gets picked up, or we have an incredibly successful Kickstarter and we actually wind up getting a lot of money from it, Alice and I have already sworn to our crew that they're getting all of it. Alice and I don't really want any of it. We're not doing this for the money. We do it because we just have fun telling stories. It's just fun.
Yeah, which is something that you will find very rarely whenever you hear anybody talking about a Kickstarter, that they are going to pocket nothing. We literally are going to pocket nothing. We don't want any of it. We want to give all of the money to our artists to fund in creating the project. And we swear by that, honestly. But the big thing that I think a lot of people have to understand when it comes to running an online studio is this is 50% of it. If you can have a crew that is passionate and excited about your project and is willing to work with you for free, in a sense, then you're 50% there. You can do this. And then you can create your Excel sheets. You can have your meetings. You can do Discord. You can do all of these things. It's absolutely possible. But if you don't have a project that people are passionate about, and you aren't showing the passion and devotion by either putting forward some money or at least a lot of your time and energy, then your project's going to fail and you're not going to be able to do it. And it's why we've been able to do it for the last 5 years.
Yeah,
and hopefully for the next 5 years.
Exactly. So yeah, now again, if you can do all of this and you have all the passion, you have all the people, and you're willing to fund it and put a lot of your money into it as well, because you're the one in charge, you are responsible for putting the money in, then you can create some really good stuff. Now, one thing that we've had a lot of fans asking about over the past several months is what do our new voice actors sound like? And they want to see some more animation from us. So
we have a treat for you.
Yeah, we're going to show you guys a work in progress animation from the Kickstarter video that we're currently working on. And it's a work in progress, but it does have all 4 of our main characters talking. So you'll get to hear the voice acting for Victor, the voice acting for Caleb, the voice acting for Melody, and the voice acting for Dolly. So we're going to let it...
Yeah, because you're gonna miss it if you skip this video.
That's right. So here it is. Let's take a watch.
Looks good to me.
You did a great job, Caleb.
Well, I was...
Hey, guys, don't we have class right now?
My botany project! I completely forgot!
Still need to set up that prank for Professor Caragus.
Oh, I want to help!
Rats. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for stopping by, and please help support our tale. Guys! Formation!
Let's let it play one more time.
Looks good to me.
You did a great job, Caleb.
Well, I was...
Hey, guys, don't we have class right now?
My botany project! I completely forgot!
Still need to set up that prank for Professor Caragus.
Oh, I want to help!
Rats. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for stopping by, and please help support our tale. Guys! Formation!
So keep in mind that this is work in progress. We're actually supposed to be having... there's animation missing at the very end when Caleb says, "Guys, formation!" Like Victor's supposed to also join their formation. Haven't animated that yet. Obviously, Victor's missing some parts. They're all missing a couple parts here and there. When Caleb's walking towards the camera right here, we actually have like Victor walking by carrying a giant tub of tar, and Dolly runs by like spilling papers everywhere, and Melody like hops over carrying a bag of feathers, and so we have a lot of animation that hasn't quite been done for this shot yet, but we felt like this would be a great one to show you guys.
Yeah, because you all have been asking, who are the voice actors? Can we hear them? That kind of thing. So we hope you really like them. One question that we did hear a lot was, what kind of happened to like the old voice actors? So because we have aged, Victor and Dolly down, we had to get new voice actors for them. Melly's voice actor, we went with somebody new, just because we needed somebody who could like really sing and all that kind of thing. So we're really excited about these new people, and we can't wait to show more and more stuff off.
I think that out of the
talent, because they're amazing.
Yeah, like out of the original 4, I think the only one that is still the exact same actor is Caleb. It's still Lucian Dodge.
Yes,
and he does an amazing job.
Yep. And Brutus and Canicus.
Yeah, Brutus and Canicus have the same as well. But yeah, Dolly and Victor had to change because we needed to age them down, and Melody had to change because we needed singing.
Yeah, and we were so excited by these voice actors. They've all like worked in animes and video games and things like that, so you might be able to recognize some of their voices. But we're just so excited to have them on board.
Yeah, they're so super talented.
They're so talented. So it's time for Q&A.
Yes, Q&A. So we always like to try to answer a couple questions. So again, like we're not able to answer all of them. That's just too many. But every unanswered question from every video we've posted, I've got like a whole folder of them, and we will eventually get them all answered. But let's
unless
go
we
over
can't answer them.
Unless we can't answer them. But here's one from Garrett. So Garrett says, thanks for another awesome devlog, guys. This was to our last devlog. In regards to what you were looking for in potential artists to join your team, are you only considering artists that can commit to a full-time schedule, or are you also considering anyone who could only put in a day or two of work per week? Well, the answer here is we're considering everybody. I would say that there is not a single artist working for us that is full-time. There's no such thing as full-time with Skynamic Studios. We don't have money. We don't pay anybody, including ourselves. So even Allison and myself don't put full-time into Skynamic. We have other jobs that pay our bills. So absolutely, we don't expect anybody to put in a full-time schedule. And if somebody did, we'd be kind of creeped out by it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Like, honestly, the main thing is we have our meeting every Saturday or Sunday, depending on what happens. As long as you turn something in once a week, and mainly during that meeting, you're safe. Like, you're great. Like, that's fantastic. And if you turn in things, every 48 hours or every 24 hours, then you're a beast. And I'm like in awe of your passion and energy. But yeah, like that's kind of where everything stands. And even if you can't turn in something like every week, as long as you let us know that like, hey, I'm sorry, I'm moving, or I'm sick, or I had a commission, or whatever, we're totally cool. We're very laid back and understanding about you guys have lives. We aren't paying you, so we respect that. And you do get paid work and stuff, that you got to take it. And we have no problem with that.
That's another thing too. Like we're always trying to constantly get paid work for everybody working on our staff. So we're constantly losing animators because they keep getting hired. Which is a great problem to have for us. We want everybody to be making a living with their art. That's our primary goal as our studio. Our secondary goal is
we just lost an animator. He's in Canada now.
That's right, in Nova Scotia.
So sad.
That's right. So yeah,
we miss you, Anthony.
Like our goal is absolutely like we want to give you a studio-like experience. We want to let you have fun. We want to give you an outlet for your artwork, and because we know that we're not paying you, we do not expect you to commit to a full-time schedule.
Yep.
So our second question comes from David Scholl, which is a great name to see again because I remember David back in 2013. So David used to work for us.
Storyboarding.
He helped us storyboard. Yeah, he helped us storyboard the original animatic for True Tale Prime. I think the part where they jump out of the glass window and they're falling down, that was all David.
I think so.
Yeah, so question, was the switch from the adventure storytelling to a school setting specifically asked or suggested by Nickelodeon themselves, or was it a solution thought up on your end for a repitch to Nickelodeon? I was on the team at the time of the change, but didn't quite get where the school setting exactly came from. Thanks in advance if this question gets, or already was, answered. Additionally, what would you say was the hardest change for you to make during the transition? So I'll let you take this one, Allison.
I get to answer this one. Okay, so in 2014, we started looking for agents. We reached out to the Gotham Group and Metropolis that are both out here in California. And when we showed them our work, they both said to us, this is hard. This is a very hard sell. This isn't going to work. This is so not what they're looking for. Everybody wants something like SpongeBob. And I was like, oh, great. Awesome. So that was around, I'd say, August. And unknown to Zach, I started retooling True Tale because it was like, I love this project. I'm so sad. Why can't we get this picked up? So I went and redid like a whole new version where I aged Victor and Dolly down and we put them in school and all of this kind of thing. And then in October, I showed it to him and he was like, cool, this is awesome. And then the two of us like collaborated big time on growing the world out further, making it stronger and all this kind of thing. So Nickelodeon had nothing to say about any of it. And then all of a sudden in December of that year, November, we got an email from Nickelodeon Development asking us to pitch True Tale. So we pitched the old version of True Tale because the new version was, they'd never seen it. They'd only seen the Flash video that we had done as a trailer that was on Cold Hard Flash, I believe. And so we pitched that to them and they're like, no, tough sell. It's not what we're looking for and whatnot. And then when I got to Nickelodeon, after being hired about like 6 months later as a PA on Harvey Beaks, we started working on the shorts program in 2016. And then when the shorts program didn't work, we really, really hyper focused in on growing True Tale, the school version, all over again and making it a lot stronger, and then started pitching it to Nickelodeon. And again, it was a tough sell just because Nickelodeon's kind of in a weird place picking up projects right now. But that's kind of the basis of the story. So Nickelodeon had no say in it whatsoever. I wanted to change the project.
yeah. Exactly. What was the hardest change to make during that? Like going from True Tale Prime?
Getting you to agree to it.
No, like I agreed. I agreed pretty easily. I liked the new idea. I saw the potential in it, and I'm still convinced that after a little while, when the kids grow up and graduate, that we will have the original True Tale Prime. It's just going to take a little while to get there.
To be completely honest, there really wasn't a hard change.
Yeah, not really.
There really wasn't, and the reason being is
actually,
because
I have an
the
answer
initial. You have an answer? Because I'd say it wasn't a hard change, just because it felt like the initial version just wasn't fleshed out enough.
Oh, no, I agree with you that. Like, I agree on that completely. I would say though that the hardest, and keep in mind, I use the word hard very loosely. It was just I'd say the most difficult decision was, do we age Brutus and Canicus down too, or do we leave them as adults and then try to find a way to fit them into the story? And I remember that we had a little bit of a discussion on that one.
Yeah,
well, I would go even further.
I'd also go further than that. I would say the hardest thing that we had was because the first version was so like not fleshed out, and what we had agreed on in the first one was that only mythical creatures could do magic.
Exactly.
That was the only thing.
I was about to say that because I remember us having quite the yelling match about how magic works in this world. I
remember getting a migraine. I think it lasted like 3 days because we
That's right.
so
Okay,
much.
That was absolutely the hardest change. It was the magic
change.
System of the world and fixing that.
Because the very first version with True Tale Prime, the magic system was kind of not really thought out completely. It was more or less that if you were a mythical creature, if you were a unicorn or a Kirin or a phoenix or whatever, you had magical powers. However, if you were just a normal character like a bear or a bunny or a kitty cat, you only could like just fight, and you had amazing sword skills or knife skills or whatever. So
that was the biggest change.
The biggest change was changing that because we wanted I wanted all the characters to be able to do magic. That way, we created it where the way that the characters can do magic is there are ley lines all over Splitpaw, and based on what your affinity to those ley lines, that's how strong your magic capabilities.
It was also their class line as well, like the idea that you could still be a fighter or a rogue. You could still use magic, but your magic was sort of complementing your strength.
Yes.
Like it'd be more like hardening your skin so it's as hard as stone if you're a fighter, or giving yourself eagle eyes to see in the dark if you were a rogue, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
The actual, like, casting a fireball and, like, that's just mages and wizards.
Yeah, so that was definitely the biggest, like the hardest thing
Yeah, that
to
was
agree
absolutely
on.
the hardest
'Cause
change.
we fought. Oh my god, I think we fought so hard about it one time that it's like I didn't talk to him for like a week.
Yeah.
We got so angry.
That's how
But
it is. Like you have
that's how
to
it
fight
is.
for your ideas. Yeah, you have to bonk heads together, and it's through fighting and challenging and debating that you finally come to a consensus and you compromise and make a decision for the best of the show.
And I have a feeling that after answering this question, one of the questions that's going to arise from a lot of you is going to be like, so what's the story of the magic True Tale?
Yeah. Well, that'll be a whole different question altogether. So here we've got 3 different questions, but they're actually all the same question. We thought that we just group all 3 of them together. So we have Unintentional Fan saying the idea of True Tale was born 5 years ago, and it has come a long way since then. We agree. Where do you see True Tale and Skynamic Studios 5 years from now? Now that you've decided to go for crowdfunding, would you ever turn back and accept being picked up by any form of financial supporter if the opportunity presented itself? And then Dalvin the Drunk says, "Hey yo, Skynamic, I should watch before asking, but have you considered trying Netflix for this cartoon? They are very friendly to new creators, I hear." And then Daniel Alvarez says, "Hello, Skynamic, I've been keeping up with True Tale since 2013. Thank you so much, Dan. I even asked you guys a question back then. If you don't remember, it goes like this. What happens if Disney sees your upcoming project and decided to buy the rights for it?" So all 3 of these are similar questions. It's basically, where do we see ourselves 5 years from now? And if somebody did offer to purchase True Tale, like, would we go for that?
Absolutely, we'd go for it. But
Hell
again,
yeah.
like the biggest thing that you have to kind of keep in mind, and like I've been doing a lot of pitching in the last couple of years out here in California, is it's very, very hard for a new creator to actually get their show picked up. It really is. You hear so many of the stories of, hooray, my show got picked up, but you don't hear the stories of the shows that don't get picked up. So by doing this Kickstarter, we are hoping that it will build some interest in our project. But even if it doesn't, Zach and I are perfectly fine with just making this an online project and continually making, episodes and doing it all online, because it's a lot of fun to be your own boss and not have the censors all of a sudden come in and go, you can't do that. That's not okay. That's not kid friendly. Well, who the heck cares?
Yeah.
It's online.
Now, one thing that we are considering is after we get this Kickstarter video animated that we've been working on for about a year now, which we're definitely going to be finishing up here fairly soon, and we launch the Kickstarter. If the Kickstarter turns out to be like way more successful than we intended it to be, there's a pretty good chance that just the hype and promotion that's created from that successful Kickstarter might be enough to attract somebody to look at the show, like Netflix or Disney. And that might be the kind of thing where, if they asked us to pitch to them, we would feel fine pitching to them.
But right now, we're perfectly fine with doing our Kickstarter, running everything online, and presenting artwork and animation to you guys.
Exactly.
Because we're our audience, and we want to make you happy.
That's right. And the more open and transparent we can be about our process, we feel like the better off everyone will be.
Exactly, which is why we're doing the devlogs.
Yeah. So we got one final question, and it comes from Crazy Ratopia. And Crazy Ratopia says, "Glad I watched this. I almost skimmed it over for some reason. You guys sound so enthusiastic and just genuinely blessed by your work. The energy you radiate and your desire to share your creation is very inspiring." Oh, thank you, Crazy.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. I have a question for the next episode, maybe, or whenever you get to it. I know there's a lot. I'm just going to start out and admit that I'm sort of shipping scum. I'm not seriously into shipping culture, but I just get really happy thinking about characters together and the stories I enjoy. So basically, is there any romantic teases planned in True Tale? I know they're kids, young teens, so it wouldn't really go deep, but I'm still curious about the slightest bit. So Allison, I ask you, are we planning romantic teases in True Tale?
Yes.
Okay, so our next section, we want to start incorporating Fan Art Fridays into every single one of our devlogs. So if you're not already aware, every Friday we post fan art onto all of our social media, which would be our Facebook, our Tumblr, and our Twitter.
I want to say something.
Oh, yeah.
So this beautiful artwork that you are seeing right here is also done by the animator that
Oh,
you
you're
just watched
right.
this animation
Yeah, it's the
for.
same animator, isn't it? Yeah, Ron.
Yeah. Thank you, Ron.
So the animation we saw earlier was done by Ron, and this fan art was done by Ron. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So this is like the Ron devlog.
Congratulations, Ron.
Yeah. So not only are we going to post our fan art on the Fan Art Fridays, but we'll also put them in the devlog every 2 weeks as well. So this is the Fan Art Friday for 2 Fridays ago, and then last Friday was here on the right, and they're both awesome. If you guys do fan art of True Tale and you'd like to see us posted on our social media and included in our devlogs, just send your fan art to truetalemedia@gmail.com.
And we'll share it, and it'll be beautiful.
Yeah. And we also want to have this section here at the end of every devlog as well. Just letting everybody know that if you want to join our team, you like the sound of what we're selling, yeah, absolutely. We're always looking for character illustrators, layout artists, 2D Flash puppet animators, and 2D effects animators, as well as color artists as well. We just didn't list it on there. To apply, all you have to do is just email your demo reel and or portfolio to, again, truetalemedia@gmail.com. We'll take a look at your stuff, and if we feel like you're a good fit for us, we'll hand you a test, and you'll have to take a quality control test and pass it. But if you do, then you're part of the team.
Yep, but that's basically it. We can't thank you guys enough for like all of the support. I mean, just reading the comments from last week's devlog, like I smiled the entire time. You are all amazing, and I can't thank you enough for being supportive of our show.
Damn straight.
I mean, my God, we don't even have an episode out, and you just, the energy that you guys are giving to us with your comments and your questions, I feel very, very blessed.
And
Thank
that
you
energy
so
is
much.
flowing into our crew members as well, and I feel like we're working faster, we're producing better content, we love it. We feed off of our fans. But thank you so much, everybody. Again, if you have a question that you'd like to see featured in our devlog for next video, just comment below and we'll put it in our little collection and maybe we'll answer it. We'll see.
Exactly. And if you guys have any ideas on what we should talk about for our next devlog, you are more than welcome to write that as well.
Absolutely.
We try to basically go through and glean out the questions that we hear like a lot and make that the main topic of our devlog, but we're always welcome to hear what you guys want, and we'll see what we can do.
And if you'd like to see more True Tale, feel free to head on over to www.skynamicstudios.com.
As always, thank you, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks.
See you later.